the weather did improve eventually, of course, and this is what I'm dealing with today, so I'm in no position to criticize. The best camera is the camera you have with you, according to Chase Jarvis. And so this was very much the best camera I had with me in the UK. I have had the extreme good luck in the past few years to travel enough to learn that I pack too much stuff. Specifically, I pack too much camera gear. But I mean, it's part of the fun, right? That's part of the fun of going on vacation. The first time we went over to the UK, that meant taking a Canon DSLR, an 18-200 lens, a tripod, a camera bag, batteries, charger, etc., etc. It ended up being a fairly substantial piece of kit. So this time we had a lot more time to plan the trip, thanks to a number of factors. So what I ended up going with was the Canon Powershot S120. Now, this is a fantastic little camera. It was a fantastic camera the year it came out, and it's a fantastic camera now, and I'm going to explain to you why. Now, what drew me to this was a number of factors. Number one, the quality. This is a very high quality little camera. The S series was the higher end of the Canon point and shoots at this point in time. I believe this came out around the same time as the G15, if I'm not mistaken, and shared the same sensor and a lot of the same internal technology. And we're just going to ignore that cat. So before I found this, I had a bit of good luck and found an S200 at a thrift store. It was a great little camera. I really liked the form factor, the way it felt in the hand, the all-metal construction. Problem being that only shot in JPEG, and it only shot video at 720p. Not the end of the world. 720p is fine, but I wanted something a little bit better than that in case I wanted to use some footage to make a video with or something like that. So I ended up tracking this guy down. So I got a really good deal on this camera on eBay because it was obviously used. It's a few years older now, and the finish was coming off of it, which is, I guess, a pretty common failing with this particular model. I think it looks a lot better without the textured paint. So I actually spent a whole bunch of time removing the remainder of the textured paint off of it, so now it's just bare metal. The only other modification that I made to this camera was I put the hand grip from a Sony R100 whatever on it, which just gives you a little bit more when you're hanging off the side of a boat or whatever your dumb thing you're doing. And a lanyard. All of my cameras have wrist straps, unless they're Russian Zenits and they have neck straps. This is a very substantial little camera. It's a solid little block of metal, and it has a full manual set of features. This is smaller than my wallet. Like, it fits in the front pocket of your pants, no problem. So while we were on vacation, this was on my person pretty much 24/7. I absolutely love the fact that it's so small. Now, that small form factor really works out in its favor in a number of ways. It's a small enough camera that this little Joby GorillaPod worked perfectly for me the entire trip. I actually made a monopod out of a hiking pole with a Smallrig arm, adjustable 1/4-inch arm on top. I'll have to insert a picture of that. The only real downside of this camera being this old was the fact that you can't charge it over USB. But that's really easy to fix. You get a USB battery charger off of Amazon, hook it up to a power bank. I had 4 batteries with me, so I always had 1 in the charger, 2 charged, 1 in the camera. There's basically nowhere in the world that you can go anymore where they don't have a USB outlet somewhere for you to charge stuff with, and I have a solar panel if they don't, so no problems there. But this actually made for a very compact little package. Everything fit into this little belt pouch, with the exception of the Joby pod, obviously. But most of the time it was just in my pocket. It was in a jacket pocket, pants pocket, what have you, everywhere we went. It's a fantastic little travel camera. Now, the initial specification that drew me to this camera was the fact that it shoots in RAW. I really like being able to shoot RAW and JPEG at the same time. I like the convenience of the JPEG for Wi-Fi transfer to my phone, editing and uploading to social media, that sort of thing. But the insurance of having the RAW file, so when I get home, I can edit it myself. And this thing takes great RAW files as well. RAW Therapy has profiles for this lens. I think Lightroom does as well, and it responds really well to touching up after the fact. Part of what attracted me to this camera initially was the fact that it shot at 1080p, 60 frames per second, 16:9. It has a built-in ND filter built-in microphones that are actually fairly good, and built-in in-body image stabilization. So this actually makes for fairly good video coming out of something this tiny. Again, this is, you know, not intended to replace my bigger camera or my G7X Mark II, any of those things. But for something that you can just pop in your pocket, which is what these are designed to do, it takes phenomenally good pictures and video. In addition to its quality, the quality of the pictures, the quality of the video, the small form factor works in its favor in a number of ways. Like, I took this everywhere. Where I'm from, there isn't a lot of opportunity for street shooting, but there certainly was when I was in London. And what I loved about this camera was that it's so unobtrusive. I was holding it like this and just shooting from the hip, relying on the autofocus and the auto exposure a lot of times. Thanks to the small form factor and the fact that it's just really not an intimidating piece of equipment, I got some really nice candid shots with this. Would I recommend this camera in 2022 and beyond? Absolutely. Now, there are people that will tell you that these cameras are out of date and that their cell phones take better pictures, and those people are wrong because of physics. Phones definitely have the upper hand in terms of processing software, but they have a tiny little sensor, a tiny little lens, probably don't have a physical aperture. A camera is always going to be better than a cell phone. I'm just going to drop that out there. That's my old man rant for the day. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is just another tool that you will have at your disposal as a maker to create whatever you like. A better camera is not going to make you a better filmmaker. It's not going to make you a better photographer. You are going to have to do that yourself. You might as well choose tools that you can work with well. And as Chase Jarvis very famously said, the best camera is the camera that you have with you. So why not choose one that's easy to take with you? So I hope this has helped a few of you out. I hope it's drawn some attention to a very capable little camera and a very loyal little traveling companion. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, keep making cool stuff. Oh, but I carry way too much stuff. Way too many cats. Really? Right now. Right now. This is happening right now. This is what we're doing. Yeah? Can you find a spot and lay down? Maybe on your blankie? So thanks to COVID, we had extra time this year. Okay, I gotta do something.